Everybody told me that I sound like CG5. Probably because I am CG5.
Is that my babe with the big stomach? Is that my sweet potato with the jiggly belly? Babe, I think I speak for everybody when I say yes. Thank you, because you look good. Baby, you're looking sweet. Take it easy now.
What can we do? This is a question we get all the time about anti-trans legislation. I want to show you how to get involved. If you go to translegislation.com, we're tracking all of these bills as well as the hearings that are happening across the country. There are dozens of these hearings coming up this week alone. If you click this link here, you can find all the audio and video streams. You can watch online, share the links to the bills, and get as many eyes as possible on what is happening right now. If you live in one of those states, tag your representatives, write them letters, and let them know that you support trans rights. Stay strong and be well, friends.
A lot of people on here say, you're a trans woman, you can't be a lesbian. But tell me, if I were not a lesbian, would I have a portrait of my cat made of Lego?
This is the autism killer. Why? Why new recipe? No. Same old recipe, same every time. No new recipe. Why?
Good morning, bad news! One of the largest banks in the world, Silicon Valley Bank, just collapsed, and people are panicking that we're about to see a global economic meltdown or a stock market crash. But we're here to tell you that even though that's exactly what's supposed to happen, it won't. The fact is, Silicon Valley Bank is supposed to fail. They did almost everything wrong. They took their customers' money and dumped it into long-term but obviously risky investments in the middle of COVID-caused economic turmoil and rising interest rates. They lobbied the federal government to roll back banking regulations, which Trump did in 2018, allowing them to avoid transparency and oversight by pretending to be a small regional bank, which obviously they're not. And most importantly, SVB had an unusually large number of customers holding money that was not FDIC insured, which only exists to avoid this exact situation. But as it turns out, none of that matters because SVB was predominantly a bank for ultra-wealthy tech and finance bros. And it's funny because after years of that entire community insisting that student debt forgiveness is a failure of personal responsibility, they immediately begged the federal government for a bailout and got one over the weekend. And that's because the American government will always bail out the American banking industry. It's all the same people, and they'll always save themselves and double their net worths doing it. But none of that applies to you. The Supreme Court is about to tell you to pay your student loans again with interest.
Howdy! Welcome in. You're looking for hair care products? Okay, I know we have some products specifically formulated for textureless hair. I just have to remember where we keep them. We used to keep ethnic hair care products locked behind the counter, but we're not allowed to do that anymore. No, locking those products up was not a race issue, it was a data issue. This is the least racist store you could ever go to. I just remembered where we keep the ethnic hair care products. Follow me. All right, let's see what we can find back here. Oh my gosh, the dust. Okay, yes, this is specifically formulated for women with textureless hair.
Hope no one heard that.
This kind of thing is so funny to me because I like how so many people act like everyone has this wild reaction when someone gets misgendered, when like 99% of the time people don't care that much, or like there is a very, very teeny tiny small subsection of people who will get like genuinely mad at you if you misgender them. The rest of us just get sad.
Balenciaga just released a new campaign promoting extremely distressed sneakers that will be retailing for close to $2K. While I have trouble believing that this isn't a PR stunt, it's the epitome of the poor-core aesthetic, poverty chic, whatever you want to call it, which is high fashion's obsession with cosplaying and romanticizing poverty. This style can encompass any form of clothing that is oversized, heavily distorted in shape, dirty, ripped, stained, full of holes, to clothes made of discarded materials, many of which has made its way into mainstream fashion. Dressing poor dates as far back as to the French Revolution, but became popular in the 80s with the rise of deconstructed fashion. Ripped and frayed jeans became so popular during this time period that people would purposely destroy their jeans by cutting holes and pulling loose threads on their pants to achieve a heavily frayed look. Jeans used to symbolize the American working class, and people in the 80s were self-manufacturing the look that blue-collar workers had after intensive unpaid labor. Before distressed denim became a trend, kids who could only afford one pair of pants were being made fun of for not being able to get new clothes. Since then, many iterations of taking inspiration from poverty have emerged, such as a collection released in 2017 by Japanese brand N. Hollywood. The designer was inspired by homeless youth that he saw in his travels through America and called the style gutter punk. I wish I could make this up. Now, you would hope that this style would have died by now, but it has taken the form of dirty distressed sneakers. We saw it with the Golden Goose taped sneakers, Gucci's $900 worn-in tennis shoes, and now in its most extreme form, the new Balenciaga collection.
Alright, let's talk about poor-core aesthetic. I find this aesthetic to be the most offensive out of any aesthetics that exists, I guess. I don't really have a problem with a lot of... I don't know. That's a topic for another time. But the poor core aesthetic really just rubs me the wrong way. As someone who grew up my entire life in poverty, and not just poor, but in poverty, being one of 6 children, being raised by a single mom who made less than $24,000 a year my entire life. Never owned a home, never owned a car. I mean, we have owned cars, but they were like cash cars. So never like off the lot dealership like cars, just cash cars. So I know if anyone, and on top of this, let's add that I never got any new clothes. I never, like, until I was on my own is when I was able to buy new clothes. And even then, I didn't even buy new clothes. I bought thrifted clothes because that's all I've known. All my clothes were hand-me-downs or thrifted. That's all I knew. So when people try to seem relatable or guise themselves with this, this poor core aesthetic to appear more relatable, it's just really offensive. And people who utilize poor core, aesthetic are the most insufferable people I've ever fucking met. Like, for instance, I give you, like, this one time, one of my best friend at the time, not my friend anymore, but I remember, I don't really talk about my childhood role regarding, like, financial, like, growing up in poverty. It's not something I talk about a lot. Like, I'll talk about, like, other traumas and, like, growing up in a cult and shit like that, but growing up in poverty just, it's not something that to open up about a lot, you know? But I remember telling a friend who came from a 2-income household, both parents, you know, has his own car, like a brand new car, parents have, like, drive a nice car, whatever, just established, you know, well off, parents pay for his apartment, parents pay for college, parents is taken care of. Anyway, for whatever reason, we're having a discussion, and I kind of decided to open up a little bit about my childhood and growing up in extreme poverty, which I don't often do. After opening up about that, this dude literally decides to tell me that his parents are in debt. He's like, yeah, my mom just opened up to me telling me that, you know, we're in debt. And the debt in which he talks, this said debt is like just being like having a home, having a car, healthy debt in America, like having a home, having a car. Those are all, like, essentially that's all debt. So that's what he's referring to. And instead, like, try to seem relatable to me and the struggle that I'm talking about, and kind of like, I guess I'll trump me. I don't know what the fuck that was about. But then later on that day proceeds to pull out an Apple Card. Like, if you know anything about like an Apple Card, like that's a little prestigious. Goldman Sachs, come on. So they're the most insufferable people.
Tell me your politics without actually telling me your politics, and I will start.
I don't think we should let people die.
Is that that? You want a cuff? Is that that? You want a cuff?
Something went wrong.
I must reteach our Filipino roots to the next generation before our culture disappears slowly.
How do I get off of a mean girl TikTok? Please, let me know.
What's wrong with my mens?
She say I'm obsessed with thick women, and I agree. Yeah, that's right. I like my girls BBW.
You know I'm a TERF, right? Trans-eccentric.
One of the most terrifying parts to me about this video is that she self-identifies as a TERF. Because this term has been primarily used with a negative connotation, usually to describe someone who is being transphobic under the guise of feminism or being a real woman. But now people are claiming this word, and it is empowering them to feel proud about their bigotry. And that is so fucking dangerous. Because words and ideas are the basis and foundation for violent actions. And when these words start to have more power, it gives these people the confidence to commit things like hate crimes. And with the trans community being one that has been subjected to violence constantly for a long time, this is really scary. And with all these recent anti-trans bills being pushed and all this anti-trans rhetoric in general, please protect yourselves. And get whatever, and I mean whatever you need to feel like you can defend yourself, because we need to.
Any chance you've had of getting a college scholarship is over. Any chance you've had of going to a university for 4 years is over. Any chance you've had of going to a college for 4 years is over. Any chance you've had of going to a community college is over. No more job opportunities. No more prospects. No more internships. No more dream careers and ambitions. Anytime any one of you tries to get a job, your employer will pull up this video and ask you all, is this you? You girls will forever be known as those white girls who went on TikTok and did blackface. And when I say forever, I mean until the end of time.
What the hell is that? Someone kill with fire. Oh cool, my best friend sent me a text and I'm in love with him. What is this feeling? What? Oh, this is a crush. Man, this is like the first time I've had one in like, what, 50 years? To be in love. I want to date you. Ew. Holy crap, I think I have a crush. I love you. What the fuck?
Your style sucks. Me? The devil is a liar.
I made a new rule for myself today for living in Portland, Oregon, for my sanity, that if I walk into a business and there is not a single other person of color in there except for staff, like cooks, cafe staff, servers, people cleaning, I'm leaving. That place does not need my money. This is not the space for me. So it's the weekend. I woke up to the smell of pancakes, but it turns out my husband made himself pancakes and ate them all to prep for his 120-mile bike ride. That's his right, but I wanted a treat. So I decided to take myself out for a little solo brunch to a fancy cafe. I love dining alone. I figure why not? It'll be a nice morning. I walk in and there's a sign that says, please wait for the hostess to be seated. The hostess is standing there at the front counter. She looks at me. She doesn't speak. So I wait like 30 seconds and I see that this is the kind of place where you get seated and then you go up to the counter and you order and you pay there and then they give you a number and they bring your food to your table. So she just ignores me. So I just seat myself. I figure she's busy or like maybe that sign is old and it's not applicable anymore. I pick an empty table. I order. I spent $50, yes, including a tip, but without alcohol on breakfast for myself. And you know what? The food was fancy, but it was, I would say, mid. Some of the flavors were off. It was just unbalanced. And it was fine though. I had my Kindle, I had my journal, I was enjoying myself. But I was sitting by the door and I was watching people come in and I realized this hostess has greeted every single party that came in except for me. She says hello, she shows them to a table, and then she explains to them where the water station is and that they order at the counter, but their food will be brought to them. They're not left to their own devices to figure out how this motherfucking place works. And I've lived in Portland now for 4.5, almost 5 months. And when I tell you that little stuff like this happens to me at least once or twice a week here, it's always very small and subtle, but it's often enough that I'm like, this is not the space for me. Just microaggressions left and right, sometimes macroaggressions. I looked around and I realized this place was packed, and there was, of course, no other people of color, not even black people, but people of color in general, except for the kitchen staff. And I realized I don't need to be spending money in places like this. So yeah, that's another week living in Portland, Oregon.
From the transgender mafia.
Benny, do you have the goods for me? Magnifique.
I says to this IKEA Stronzo, I say, hey, either I'm leaving this store with Blahai in this box, or I'm leaving with your Katso in this box. Without any spironolactone.
Benny, grazie. Just when I think our operation is going a little soft, you keep us young.
Business is business, boss.
Speaking of business,
are you the Don?
No, I'm the sub. No, but I actually am the sub. How can we help today?
Hey. You gonna ask the Don what his pronouns are or not?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are your pronouns?
It is he and they, but I know you'll use he regardless. State your business.
It's my child. She needed the estrogen, but our insurance
Your child? How old?
17. Her mama, she worries about the medical, surgical aspect. No need for concern, my friend. You should see the surgeons they got today. They go in, you go out, bada bing, bada boom, you snipped. Although constipation is actually very understated with bottom surgery, liquid laxatives are a very sound investment.
Trans life, it is a thing of honor. It is a thing of passion. Is he sure that he is... Apologies. Is she sure that this is a life she is prepared for?
It's all that she talk about for almost a year now. Every night, she and her mom and I, we are brought to tears.
We here in our operation believe that every person in this country has the right to their dream, a right to live their truth unapologetically. Your daughter, you and her mama, you will be granted that dream.
Grazie, signore, grazie. You know, you'd think we'd be doing top surgery, what with all this, getting this stuff off our chests.
I hate you so much, Benny. I really, really do.
I have to go to work. I was telling a man the other day, he said, you're always condemning American capitalism and the education system. I said, I have to. It makes the people lazy, stupid. He said, why say that? I said, listen, I live outside of America. When a revolutionary regime seizes power, they ban reactionary books. When a reactionary regime seizes power, they burn revolutionary books. But in America, you ain't got to ban or burn nothing. Put them in the library. Don't nobody read them. Oh, my. If it ain't assigned by the teacher, what am I going to read it for?
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Do you want to know how you can spot a class traitor at your workplace? Here is one thing that I learned while unionizing my second workplace. When your employer holds a captive audience meeting and people start to ask questions to your bosses, when this specific individual asks the question that you also agree with, and to show solidarity and support for your other coworkers, you say, I too have that same question. I agree with my coworker. And this person says, I just want to state that I speak for myself because I am my own advocate and I am my own person. That's a bootlicker.
Stop fucking crying, bitch! Where? I don't wanna fucking hear it!
She don't see us? You see me?
Yeah. Yes, I see you. You see me?
Hell yeah, I see you. Both of us sitting here.
The Pronoun Book by Chris Ayala Kronos and Melita Tirado. How do you know what somebody wants to be called? Ask. She. He. They. Her. Him. Yeah, those baguettes belong to him. Them. Look at them pack a party bag. Yeah. Hers. His. Theirs. What happens next? All together. Us. They're all at a picnic.
Dequeering to go home for spring break at HJ.
How does it work? How do you do this to someone?
All done, love y'all. Bye.
I'm off to guard the queen. That's my job. Ooh, I'll come too. No, you can't guard the queen. Why not? You're not good at it. I am, really I am. No, you better stay home. But I'm a guard just like you. Yeah.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together. Brighter than a lucky.
Things in the American Girl doll store that would send Ron DeSantis into a coma instantly. The first is guaranteed healthcare for all, including those with different abilities. Next is cultural, ethnic, and racial diversity as part of being an American. Next is non-whitewashed American history. This is about an enslaved black girl named Addie and all the horrors she faces. This is a book about an indigenous girl named Kaya, as well as different cultural garb. This book, which would absolutely be banned in Florida, talks about white supremacy, white privilege, and microaggressions, all age appropriate, of course. This book, which talks about non-toxic masculinity. Working class women, this girl would absolutely be supportive of the Starbucks unionization effort. Women in non-traditional careers, like being a pilot. Women who vote, as well as Jews.
Here's what you're going to do if TikTok gets banned. You're going to make a list of every problem that TikTok has showed you that you care about. It could be ICWA, which takes away children from indigenous families. If you care about the Willow Project, it could be climate change, green energy. It could be Cop City in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a $90 million establishment made to train police on civilian warfare. It could be the banning of books on Black history in Florida and many other states. It could be the re-establishment of Jim Crow in Mississippi. It could be abortion rights, Roe v. Wade, women's suffrage. You're going to make a list of these, specifically pen and paper, not on your technology, because as we are learning, it is not that reliable. And once TikTok gets banned, that means it's time to stop listening and start acting. You're going to take that list and you're going to find every organization you can on what you care about. Become part of those organizations and put the work into changing it. You are not going to leave the United States until after the 2024 election. This is our fucking country and Nazis can't fucking have it. Good luck.
Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. I wanna hold them like they do in Texas plays. Fold them, let them hit me, raise it, baby, stay with me, I love it. Luck and intuition, play the cards with spades to start. And after he's been hooked, I'll play the one that's on his heart. Oh, 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 oh. I got my sights set on you, and I'm ready to aim. The last time I freaked out, I just kept looking down. I just stuttered when you asked me what I'm thinking about. Felt like I couldn't breathe. You asked what's wrong with me. My best friend Leslie said, oh, she just being Miley.
Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around.